right, everyone. This is going to be a great interview because I can almost guarantee that like 99.9% of you guys, number one, have never heard of this company. Number two, have never met Pedro over here. And you guys are going to be blown away by a brand new EHR company that is literally going to make, in my opinion, one of the biggest waves in all of chiropractic that we've seen in probably 10 or 15 years. This is Prompt Health. And this is Pedro. What's up, man? How are you?
Hey, I'm good. Good to be here.
So why don't you just give me like the 1 minute fly overview as far as like what Prompt Health started at, because they didn't start in chiropractic, guys. And that's kind of one of the reasons I love this company. And then specifically kind of like how you came into the fold and what you guys are going to be launching and putting out inside of our space very soon.
Prompt is EMR. Originally started off in physical therapy, PTO, TSLP, the whole rehab therapy industry, with folks who were patients and saw this really great opportunity to help folks that were taking care of patients that needed help. And then my story is a little bit different. I'm more on the clinical side. I'm the VP of AI engineer, so I was coming at it a little bit more of a nerdy way to the whole thing. But obviously, PT, there's a lot of challenges, right? You got margin compression, you have all these challenges. You're trying to take great care of your patients, make sure they do their plans of care. What the founder saw, and we saw in different ways, is that the systems that folks had, the EMR systems, didn't necessarily feel like they were helping them, right? And this is still that trend I think people see now with EMRs is it's the thing that you have to use every day for every single patient, and it can be something that slows you down and makes your life a lot harder. And this really mirrors my story. So myself and my co-founder, Ravi Treya, more on the clinical side, we also saw the EMRs are not helping, right? And we were clinicians trying to use the system to take care of patients. And we decided that like AI, which I've been doing it from way before it was cool. So back in 2009, I was already coding like simple AI models and everything. And then it was just like this thing that was just off that nobody really cared about. But we were there and we were learning how to be clinicians and take care of patients. And we're like, well, the system should help you. So we both kind of like, everybody at Prompt and at Production Health, where we were before, saw this gap. And it sort of ended up joining forces. Actually, this year, I acquired and joined Prompt Health to specifically bake in the AI so that the system's not only just really well designed to make it easy to document, to do the billing, to get people scheduled, to make sure that your schedule's full and do all those key things, but then also have this crazy new technology that's really become popular and exciting over the last few years that can do things like listen in, help write your note, answer questions for you proactively, read all of your notes looking for compliance risks or how you can better code. And it's kind of like a really great marriage of these two approaches to a very important problem that affects a lot of folks in rehab therapy, but then of course chiropractic, and now a really exciting domain for us to go into as well.
So the interesting thing to me, guys, about Prompt and the things that make it a lot different than other EHRs is I feel like, this is just personal, by the way, a lot of EHR companies in chiropractic are like circular and they're trying to tack on AI. And what I see out of you guys, like literally, I went to your website. It's not, and it doesn't say like, we do patient notes better than that. Literally, the headline is connecting every part of care through AI and automation. Like that is like, and at least in my opinion, the more I've learned about your company, that's like the lifeblood that runs your guys' EHR. And is that a true statement? Do you feel like, or how do you view that?
It's funny because there's all the stuff that happens in the background for any technology that like you don't get to necessarily appreciate, right? And one of those key things is what was the motivation for like how you built stuff, right? Because you can just tack things on exactly to your point, right? You just kind of like throw things on top and it might be okay, right? But you can really tell. And the Prompt team saw from the beginning that like the data and the way the whole thing is organized is really important. You can't just like throw things on. They've always thought, I think, very holistically about it. And I've known Mike since back in 2020. So we've gotten to know each other for a long while. And for Production Health, we also started from the beginning. We're like, we need to get the data in and we need it to be organized because if it's thoughtfully organized, these AI models can run every single node and we could do so many really cool things. So we both saw this opportunity to build something that was organized and very thoughtful so that it would be integrated. And it's not just like you're throwing AI on top, right? You're not just throwing features on top of features, but the whole thing is designed to be smooth and simple and then have this AI intelligence and automation baked into the EMR system. And you don't start with a great solution usually. You'll try to like solve a problem, but it usually starts off really complex, and you got to like slowly hack away and peel back parts and really think through problems and spend a lot of time with the people that use the tools to figure out how you can keep refining and simplifying it over time. And so it is very much this holistic approach where we try to like be very thoughtful about how everything's organized and how we bring technology into it so that it's not just this, like they say the camel's animal designed by committee, right? Where like all these people just kind of keep tacking things on, right? And you just kind of mush it together, but rather that it's like a holistic, organized thing. And for the AI, you're going to see that you can tack on an AI scribe and you can tack on a chat bot, but it's going to feel really awkward and strange. And the AI can do so much better when the data is organized and it can be pulled in and used in that moment to help the AI do a really great job. Because it's not like a magical oracle that knows everything. It's something that can read the notes and read the information and do work that traditional computers couldn't do. And so having that information pulled in at the right time, having the ability to have your system, your EMR, organized to even be able to do that opens up a lot of really cool possibilities. And it's really in the early days. You're going to see so many cool use cases where the system seems so much smarter and is actively helping you and hopefully actually surprising people because it just like does things that it's almost like it's reading your mind. And like, that's really where we're trying to go.
And that's what I love about what you guys have built, to be honest with you. I feel like, and this isn't to talk down or anything, some of the other EHRs, it's like, theirs are like one-way streets, right? Like everyone has a scribe and the scribe listens to you, it shortens your notes, it puts it inside of your EHR, right? Like, okay, that's cool. Like, wow, for a lot of us that are like, great, because we spend 2 to 3 minutes doing a note. Now it's going to be 30 seconds. The thing that I think takes you guys above and beyond is that now not only is that note being predicted, but it's actually like causing like internal changes inside your system that make you a better clinician. And what do I mean by that? It understands your note. It helps you with CPT coding. It helps you with your care plans. It helps you like, I mean, how many times you guys probably did this PT too, like, oh, I'll see you twice a week for 3 weeks. And then like a person misses or they're late. Like, and we're always like, oh, you got to go to the front desk and reschedule that. You got to get back on task. And it's like these like tasks that always happen that are like monotonous out for a while. And what I've seen with your software is it's like changing and like literally like morphing into the matrix, so to speak, every single time that you insert a patient note. And like, it's giving you more I think you nailed it, like predictive outcomes and a better understanding of not only your patient, but truly kind of an understanding of you and your practice. And those are things that like, honestly, not a lot of EHR companies are doing. And, we talk about reporting tools and dashboards and all of these other things, but to actually almost have like a living brain in there that's like molding and twisting you to become a better doctor, a more efficient doctor, a more profitable doctor. And I'd imagine that's kind of the whole idea behind Prompt is I think that it's something that has not been seen in chiropractic. And I'm really pumped about that. Okay. Let's talk about, if we can, I'm just going to like throw questions at you and, take it over. Like what in your opinion is like maybe the 1 or 2 top AI, like tech tools that you guys offer that like no one in this space does right now, and why people should be like, you know what, I have to check out Prompt?
So I think one of the things that folks view as the absolute most valuable is seeing patients, right? It's kind of like a funnel, and the top of funnel is where you can have the biggest leverage, and the schedule, making sure that the system is automatically filling in empty spots, rescheduling people, because if they don't even show up, they can't get care. If they can't get care, they can't get better, right? And so a lot of the key automations we have in the schedule, I think is by far like one of the most powerful.
Okay, explain what that is to me, because no one's heard of exactly what you said. Like I've seen this work in other industries like dentistry and stuff, but like in chiropractic, this is brand new technology. So tell us, what does that mean? Like you said, it helps fill in the schedule. How does it help fill in the schedule? What is it like? Tell me.
So the simple version, right, is that like if somebody cancels, right, that the system reaches out to all other folks that could potentially get scheduled to that spot for you.
Other folks, not the same person that was scheduled. Exactly. So people that are like, hey, I'd like to get an adjustment, but you're like, well, my schedule's full, or like, I haven't been seen in a while type of thing.
Exactly. Right. So like, there's a spot that opens up on your schedule for tomorrow. You want your EMR to be smart and reach out like, well, who's available? Who would come in? But you can't just throw any single, patient in there. You have to consider like, well, what was their plan of care? Are they even going to need another visit that week? So behind the scenes, the system intelligently identifies who are other patients we could reach out to. It can send them text messages and fill that slot without people having to do a thing. And that's probably what you would normally do now, right? You'd have like your front office.
Yeah, they pick up the phone and call. Yeah, right.
So your system should do that for you, right? Your system should be actively helping and being smart about it to make your life easier. And that sort of like first opportunity, right, to make sure that people come in to see you is a really high point of leverage and delivers a lot of value to folks.
I love that. Okay, so waitlist opportunities, I guess. Talk to me about you guys, because I've seen some stuff about underbilling cases, because this is something that like chiropractors are classic. At least I'm classic for. We're like, I'm like, oh, I don't want to have to go in there and change the codes up again and rewrite the diagnosis. Like, tell me a little bit about how that works.
So we know, obviously, chiropractors practice in a lot of different ways. Some folks will use, for example, PT codes. And, those are, even if you're, a PT, we see this all the time. It's actually one of the key models. That was our first model, actually, for prediction health that we built that was really exciting, was dealing with this problem where if you use the wrong codes, you don't, put in enough units, etc., you can do work and do very thoughtful care for people, but then not get paid for it. And yeah, that's rough, right? That's not good for the PT, either. And so we have a model that will read the text of, what you're doing, why, and then help make sure that you do the right justification for it. So it'll proactively tell you like, hey, you're actually doing, in this case, you have functional activity as like one code, like a 97530, but you only put in as a 97110, that's at their X. There's an opportunity to do differently, right? And we see very frequently, because people are uncomfortable with their CPT coding, they will underbill. They will perform more services than they're getting compensated for. And so we think it's important to be accurate in your coding. So we have these AI models that can read what you're doing and then help sort of like just remind you like, hey, like this could be, this code, you did the care, right? And you justified it, so just a little reminder, because again, people need a little reminder sometimes to make sure that they're coding accurately for the work that they're doing.
So your guys' AI, I'm just walking through in my mind like a normal treatment plan, like that'll listen to you as you're talking about the patient. So it's basically a scribe. It's going to write it up, and then it's going to give you suggestions for diagnosis and CPT codes on top of that.
So even actually, if you don't do the recording, because we do have the AI scribe, which a lot of folks absolutely love for obvious reasons, but even if you don't do the audio recording, as you're even just literally typing, if you decide you're going to type out your activities and your justifications, your exercises, your treatments, it will actually scan that and then give you a little update, right, real time, saying like, hey, like this could be this code or this could be that code, or like, it won't be very obtrusive, but if it's right, it'll just give you a little green check mark, like, hey, you're good.
And then on top of that, you create a treatment plan for the patient, and the software helps to create those patient appointments for you as well.
So, of course, if you like verbalize, you're like, hey,
Yeah.
Morning, right? It will go and do that. We try to avoid, especially for the AI scribe, we don't want to make people think that they're not practicing, that they're not the clinician, right? So we try to mostly focus in on what did they say to the patient? And you can say it in a very casual way, like, hey, I want to see you every week once, and it will then organize that so it has the frequency and the duration for a plan of care. Or you can describe like your assessment to them. You can basically educate the patient, just 100% education focused towards them using very patient-focused language. But then the scribe will listen in and change it into a more formal medical language into the note. But it'll have all the same facts. It's not going to like make up, this is what your treatment's going to be, but it will listen into, oh, okay, he says he wants to do this kind of a treatment. Let me just make it more formal and then put it right in the notes so that you can review it and accept it.
Wow. Just that alone is like far and above what 95% of chiropractic EHRs have. Okay, give me something else. Since we're on this roll, like talk to me about so a couple companies I've asked like, hey, like tell me what you guys are coming out with next, or like tell me what's on the horizon. And you can or you can't. It's completely up to you. But like throw me a couple like Easter eggers out there. Like what are you guys working on? Where do you see the next evolution of prompt like moving into, and how maybe specifically for chiropractic, predict how AI is going to be more impactful?
So I got two that are like kind of 10 quick features and one a little bit for how.
Cool.
But two that we even just had at a conference recently that are pretty unique to us are one, we have a sort of structured exam capture. So I'm sure a lot of different EMR systems have, the range of motion and the knee and, flexion, extension, and you can fill in all these boxes and click all these check boxes. And something we've gotten asked about forever is like, hey, you have this AI, can it just like fill out all those little things for me? Because I like it to be organized. I like to have the numbers. I like to see the changes over time, but I don't like having to click into every single one of them over and over and over again. So as
Right.
part of that, we train the AI to listen in. And you can just call it out. You can quickly dictate it, but you just say what's happening. So as like you're taking range of motion, you're measuring strength, you're doing the assessment, the physical exam, you just call it out and it captures it. And then when you review it, you click one button and it fills in all those little fields for you. And we call it the structured note capture. And that one's been like a really exciting feature to release. It was not easy to build, but it's something that people asked about for a really long time.
Cool. All right. I like that. All right. What's the one there? One of the two that are here or further out?
The next one, so a lot of folks, if they're interested in AI, have tried out using ChatGPT. So we have baked in we call it Ask AI or Sidekick chat. It's like a HIPAA-compliant ChatGPT that knows which patient you have pulled up. So if you want to send like a quick update letter to their referring provider, or you want to brainstorm some exercises, it can see which patient you have. You can just quickly ask it questions or give it instructions like, hey, write me a template letter for this purpose, and it'll quickly draft it for you. We've launched what we call genius mode. So you can ask it to do like a really hard task, and it'll think extra hard to give you an even more accurate, more thoughtful answer for those really, really hard use cases. So that's another pretty recent addition.
I love this. Okay. I believe every EHR company like serves a different, I don't know, user persona or like, who is prompt for specifically? Like, is this like, for instance, like JNAP, high cash practices, right? Startups, those types of things. Chirotouch, heavy insurance-based practices, higher volume. Where does prompt kind of fall into that? And, how do you guys see kind of entering the marketplace?
I like to think of it as being like the one-stop shop is what we're really aiming to do. We're really aiming to have like a holistic, comprehensive experience so that you don't have to have like a schedule reminder filling tool and then a separate automation for your billing and then buy a separate AI scribe. We really try to build everything in so that you don't have to manage all these different connections, integrations. We like to just very thoughtfully combine things to cover as much of the workflow as possible for clinicians and then all the different user types that use the EMR, right? You have the patient, the biller, the admin, the clinician, of course. You don't want to have to deal with what you're tacking on. You want them to have one system that works really, really well across all the different things they're going to want to do and just be like that one central entity and the one central software to do that really, really to do it in a very seamless way across all the different parts. That's what I would say is sort of like the type. Not everybody likes to do that. Some people like to customize and have a lot of things to manage. But if you want to have one system that's really designed to work really well together across all those different automations, I think that prompt is a really great choice.
In chiropractic, a lot of our EHRs are built off of like templates, like almost, I would call them macros, right? Like you click, 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 click. Is that kind of the same way that prompt is built, or is it something completely different?
So you can, of course, do templates. We also have, I know in chiropractic, they really like the little like drop down tokens where you can kind of like have the options and you can just click to then fill in like those, options. You'll have like 3 or 4 options for whatever you want to click to. So we do support that because we like to listen to our users. And that was an important thing in chiropractic. But also I like to call out that with something like Sidekick, well, you don't need to go and click through all the little drop downs because you'll just put it running. You'll talk to the person for a couple minutes. And when you hit stop, it's just going to write a nice custom version of the note for that patient based on the discussion that you just had, which can also be nice because if you do little drop-down tokens, sometimes your notes can end up being the same exact note time after time.
Right.
And some folks like to avoid that because that can get you kind of in trouble. It can come up as a red flag if your notes are literally identical each time. So with one click and using AI, you can get a custom note every single time that's actually specifically referring to what the conversation with that patient was each day.
I like that a lot. I'll be honest with you because like, I mean, we see a lot of volume in my practice and I just click, salt, same as last time. It's like, and I've had friends that get nailed by like insurance companies and that type of thing, Speaking of insurance, does your software like lean more towards that? Like, are you guys like super high on like compliance of those types of things too? Because I know some of the EHR companies lean like we're very, very, compliance oriented, and other ones are like, yeah, we just serve more cash practices. It's not as much. Where do you guys fall on that line?
So obviously coming from rehab therapy, the majority of the payment's done via insurance, right?
Mm-hmm.
that's where we have the most experience and the most sort of support for things, automations and all this stuff around payers. But obviously, chiropractic's different. There's a lot of cash pay and different sort of packages and things that they want to be able to support that's different from that insurance model. And so again, we like to meet people where they are and make our users happy. So we've done a lot of feedback there. So we've added a bunch of features to help with that. We have a bunch more coming so that we can really well support the cash pay practices, which are, again, very common in chiropractic.
I have two more questions. Just so you know, I asked like about 100 doctors, like, hey, give me your top questions for these EHR companies. And like, so the first one was exactly what you said, like, about care packages, because a lot of doctors will sell like 3 months of care. Like, does your system automatically like shift if they miss an appointment or they need to come in for more? Any of that change with the AI in it?
I mean, that's the kind of thing where you don't really actually need to do an AI. You can do like a role-based system, but then the bundled packages thing, just to be fair to folks, is a newer thing that we're like actively building and adding, right? So it's a need that we've definitely heard of and one that we're actively building to launch very soon for folks. That's actually, I think, one of the best parts about Prompt and has always been is that there's always more improvements and there's always new features to build and launch. And we listen very carefully to what people ask us, like, oh, here's some issues, here's an opportunity that I wish you would do, and then thoughtfully try to address them and not with like a 2-year roadmap. We really think of on the order of like, 3 months, 6 months, what can we get done really, quickly and efficiently and help. And then sometimes you keep iterating and make it better and better, but we don't even really sort of think about like a year, right? We want to know like, what can we do to make people's lives better in, a couple of weeks or a couple of months.
Gotcha. All right. Everyone wants to know, how much does your guys' software typically cost? What does that look like? Because, some software start at $69 a month, but by the time you finish adding everything on, it's like $579 a month. Where do you guys fall on your guys' pricing of things?
Yeah. So I'm admittedly not the ideal.
I know you're the AI guy. I don't know. That's all right.
Right.
Sorry, Pedro.
Group size kind of comes into a factor as well, right? The AI feature, and because of the models, because we choose to really find ones, that is an additional fee. But for like the pricing thing, you're really gonna have to go talk to Mike or one of the sales folks. I don't want to
Gotcha.
trouble by
Put you on the spot. I'm sorry.
you think, oh, wow, like nerd, like prediction question or a model eval thing, I'd be all over it. But
all right, last question, and we'll jump off of this. If you're a doctor right now that's considering changing your EHR, maybe you're just frustrated, you're looking for something new. Why should they pick up the phone and just be like, you know what? I want to check out this prompt. I've heard Chiro HD, I've heard Jane, I've heard Prime, I've heard all like, why you guys, I guess should say, and then why, and then how do they do that as well?
So I'm not going to scare people away here. Hopefully I'm a mathy person, right? So I think about things in a mathy way. And so I would ask you, are you going to be in practice for one? And then 2, do you see yourself being on the same EMR for the next 20, 30, whatever many years you're planning on practicing, right? And if you say yes, it's the perfect experience, you're perfectly happy, and like, okay, cool, I get it. But if you're like, there might be a better way, there might be improvement, there might be something that makes my life easier. Well, if you're going to be practicing for, 10 years even, well, the longer you wait to change, to use a system that makes your life easier, the less total benefit you're going to get. So like, if at some point you're going to rip the Band-Aid off, I would say like, well, maybe you should try to rip the Band-Aid off sooner. Like, it's not an easy transition. We're not, we're upfront of people. We have a lot of customer support to help folks in transition to make it as easy as possible, but it is, an investment. Mm-hmm. But then do you want to make that investment now? Or do you want to wait a bunch of years and still be kind of unhappy and maybe have some gaps in your system and wait, for it to get better? So that's the way I always kind of think about it. I'm a very much like, pain now, benefit later type person. And so I think that's the way I always sort of think through the decision. It's an investment. And the sooner you invest, the sooner you get to take advantage of those gains over time.
Love it. All right. And how do they find you? And where do they go to set up a demo and check it out?
That's prompthealth.com. And then, if people ever want to talk to an AI nerd, I'm always available at, Pedro. There's not that many Pedros actually Prompt. I'm the only one. But if I can be helpful, folks should definitely always reach out. I love helping folks figure out how to do AI stuff. And the entire Prompt team is really wonderful to work with. So if we can answer questions or show folks how things work to see if it makes sense for them, like definitely reach out.
Perfect. All right, guys, brand new EHR. I'm telling you guys, take a demo. You're going to be blown away. It's incredible stuff. So Prompt Health,
If you want the best deals on products and services, along with some of the best speakers in chiropractic, you're going to want to register for our next summit coming up soon. Click on down below and register today.